Good morning. Maybe you can introduce yourself and tell me where we are.
Hello, I am Connie Barone. I'm the site manager at the Sackets Harbor Battlefield State Historic Site. Sackets Harbor is located on the eastern end of Lake Ontario, and we're about 30 miles across the lake from Kingston.
All right, and looks like you got something going on here this weekend.
Well, we are so pleased to have been invited to host the North American War of 1812 Grand Tactical once again. We hosted it in 2010, and then, of course, we had a number of ceremonies during the bicentennial.
How many reenactors do you have on site this weekend? The camps look quite large.
Yes, well, just like 2010, we have over 400 reenactors here with us this weekend.
And War of 1812, can you talk about, well, first off, the community? What was the importance of Sacket Harbor?
Yes, well, Sackets Harbor was and still is strategically located here. The harbor, deep harbor at the time that the war was starting, was where the Americans, the Army, the Navy, the Marines chose to have their headquarters in the northern frontier. We say today we're still strategically located for such things as tourism and the Grand Tactical.
Well, it's such a beautiful community. I brought my wife here back when we were doing our planning, and she fell in love with the town. So she dropped me off Thursday. I haven't seen her since. She's out there somewhere. So, all right. And then there were battles that occurred here, eh? Not one, but actually two.
Yes, one of the first battles of the war, which was July 19 in 1812. It was a Sunday morning skirmish. The Canadian Provincial Marine sailed in, probably a morning like this. And we quickly grabbed the 132-pounder we had, tried to find some cannonballs for it, which we didn't have. There's wonderful legends that say the cannonballs that we did have that were too small were wrapped in strips of carpeting to fit into the cannon and then to be fired at the vessels. Now, there's no documentation about what exactly happened. There's very little mentioned from the British side. So the Canadian Provincial Marines left that morning, and that was the first battle. Our second battle, which much more important, 29 May 1813. And because of that battle, the National Park Service ranks us as one of the top sites for the War of 1812 in the United States. And it was the outcome of the battle, but also when they made that designation, it was because of the land, the battlegrounds, the relatively untouched battlegrounds. And those battlegrounds today are being preserved. And we are very grateful to New York State Parks and also the American Battlefield Trust that has been purchasing land to preserve it and save it for the public for the future.
Well, the battlefield park here is spectacular, but there's also a walking path that goes through the battlefield, a great deal of it, and you guys have done a wonderful job in interpreting it with a number of panels. And
Yes, yes. The History Trail was established about 20 years ago, and it is designated by the Department of the Interior, actually, as an official history trail here at the historic site. During the bicentennial, the village of Sackets Harbor received funding to be able to create the Bicentennial Trail that connects to our trail and to the village streets and sidewalks for a grand total of 6 miles in this community.
wow, I'm struck walking around the village. Like a lot of the buildings and homes are original ones from the time period, right? And
Yes.
you can hardly go a few steps without tripping over a historic marker.
Right. And we're so fortunate to have Augustus Sackett's home. He was the co-founder, and the Elijah Camp Mansion. They were the co-founders of the village, and their homes still exist. The Sacket building, the Sacket Mansion, is the Village Visitor Center, and we have a diverse architecture.
Excellent. Now, last night you were showing me an award you got. You had it pinned to your coat. What was that award?
Well, that was a British Empire medal, and I was totally stunned to have been nominated during the bicentennial by the British military attaché in Washington, and also a British officer who was stationed here at Fort Drum, the home of the 10th Mountain Division. And they nominated me, and after a great deal of paperwork and procedure, I was notified that I was receiving a British Empire Medal from Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, but why did they nominate you? I think that's a
Ah,
cool
well,
part.
the story about that, yes. So during the bicentennial, we decided that we would do a monument to the Crown Forces. And actually, I was inspired by a visit to a cemetery in Verdun in France, where in the cemetery, which was mostly French soldiers, there were several graves of German soldiers. So I thought, well, here at Sackett's Harbor, we do know, we have great documentation of the 40 or so Crown Forces members who were killed but left behind after the May 29 battle. And we have the documentation that the British officers asked the American officers if they would bury those men, which they did. We just don't know where they are today. So we chose a location. We had the names of the 40 men, and we did a big fundraising between the United States, Britain, and Canada. And we had a lot of help from British individuals and Canadian individuals who did the detailed research on those men. So on the ledger, which is with the vertical monument, their names are engraved in the granite.
Yeah, I always pause and have a look and have a moment of reflection when I go by that monument. Well, thank you, Connie. It's been an amazing weekend here. Really, really appreciate everything you did to make this Grand Tactical possible.
Well, we wouldn't do it without you. You're the ones who are doing it.
I always look at it as partnerships and partnerships that really have evolved into friendships. So
Yes, it's a
thank you.
wonderful cross border event.